Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. If you're joining us for the first time or the second, third, or 100th time, you're in for a real treat today. I've got Karen Briscoe in the studio. She has a wealth of knowledge and has been involved in the real estate space, specifically residential, for over 2 decades now. Had a transition out of commercial real estate and a whole slew of things there into the residential side. She's also the founder and creator of the 5-Minute Success Concept, has a podcast, and is an absolute phenom with her real estate group under Keller Williams. She's sold over 1,500 homes and over $1 billion in real estate. Just remember, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. With that being said, Karen, welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here and would love to add value to your community. And looking forward to the conversation.
Me too. We had such a lovely time sharing a little bit before we hit record. So before we kind of get into some of the meat and talk about your 5-minute success concept, how you created that, how it's useful, what high-level performers can maybe use in working that into their routines. Tell us a little bit about what got you into the real estate space back in the day and where you've gotten to yourself now.
Well, I started out in dirt in Texas, working for a land developer, Trammell Crow division, and we would buy land and put in streets and utilities and sell lots to home builders, mostly the production home builders. And really, I cut my teeth on that, because I would say what I learned at Trammell Crow was really how to study the markets and to determine where demand was and supply. Back in the day, way before there was data analytics, we used to actually go count building permits. But it was still the same concept, and learned also negotiation. And again, the market knowledge was so key. So that career, then I met my husband, married, had 2 children, and his career took us to the Washington, D.C., which is now known as the DMV, but we are in the Northern Virginia side. And I was actually home with my children for about a dozen years, because my husband's career took travel and was gone a lot. And we didn't have any local family support. And so when I wanted to re-enter the workforce, I was like, I'm going back into commercial. And it's different, but it's also, if you think about land developers, they're looking for land out in, exurbs and outer suburbia, because you got to find, usually farmland and convert it to subdivisions. So it wasn't a very practical career choice. So I had an opportunity to go work for the Staubach company at the Nextel account and did sales engineering warehouse offices. And I'm just going to say that once you've seen one sales, engineering, and warehouse office, that you've seen them all.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Because it's pretty cookie cutter and became just so routine and almost boring. So they asked me to get my real estate license, and I did, because as a developer, you don't necessarily want your license, because once you have license, then you have to disclose. So I got my real estate license, and then something interesting happened, the .com bust. And when and you work for a technology company and it busts, then there's a lot of layoffs. And Nextel, Starbucks lost the account, but Nextel still needed the services, so they were going to hire me in-house. But I was like, I was in Texas when they were, going through a crash and savings and loan crisis. I was like, been there, done that. Don't really want to get into this whole disposition mode, because I just knew that was not going to be fun. And so somebody said, well, why don't you try residential? And I mean, try, like literally, like just give it a shot. And there is a perception, at least that I've found, that there is like the people in the commercial side, they are the ones that have all the market knowledge, strategy, negotiations. They do the hard stuff, right? And the people on the residential side, they do all those soft skills, like talking to people and caring about what they think, And the thing is when I did my first deal, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, I have both. Like, I'm a hard and a soft skills person. I have them both. And what I found about my time with commercial was it was just too hard, like no soft skills, nothing opportunity to get to know people and serve them and provide value to their lives. And so I was like, wow. And I hit success rapidly and found my place in that.
Now, so in that transition, how did you get to where you're at now?
Well, we may get into the 5-minute success principles. I will say I realized very rapidly that nobody called me when I got my real estate license and asked me if they wanted me to help them buy or sell a house. I had to actually go out and get the business. And I would say that's probably still, not probably, it is still true to this day. I am a very active, consistent, persistent lead generator. And I tell people I really don't stop, because what I did when I was writing my book, I thought, I'll take a 3-month sabbatical and I'll write my book. And I'd already been in the business like 15 years. I mean, surely I can, coast a little bit here. And I felt like my business just dried up. Like it was like the pipeline it just stopped. And so it was a real wake-up call for me. And I went into double time for 3 months. I'm like, well, not only do I have to fill the pipeline from the last 3 months, I have to like double time and get to, fill it extra full. And then I had one of my best years ever. But so I believe it's a little woo-woo, but I believe that the universe honors people who actively pursue opportunity to work with people. And it's not always matchy-matchy. Like I can't necessarily correlate the people I contact today with where my future business is coming. But I'm putting out that energy that I'm here, ready, willing, and able to serve your real estate needs. And it just, over time, comes. But I would say if you wanted to know the one thing that has made the most impact, it's that, and that just persistence, drive.
Absolutely. So tell me about where you were at in your career when you came up with the 5-minute success concept and how that was so pivotal for you when you developed it.
So I started on the residential side in the early 2000s, and one of the top agents in the United States, she was number 10 at the time, asked me to join her and be her partner.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And so my group is called HBC Group. So H stands for Sue Huckabee and B stands for Karen Briscoe. And I'll tell you about the C in a minute. But so she and I joined together, and in 2008, and I remember it because it was September, and you may remember what happened in September 2008, the financial markets crashed along with the real estate market, and my business partner died. Now, I knew she was ill. She really wasn't that old. I was like, I didn't know she was going to die. I mean, when I took all this on. But then the idea of, well, then what do you do with this huge business, right? With this huge overhead of marketing and expenses and employees. And so the good news is I had some muscle memory from the Texas savings and loan crisis. And I, immediately got to work. We, first of all, figuring out how to get out of a lot of heavy expenses, and then getting right on that, and then setting about to rebuild. And part of that rebuild was finding another partner. And Lizzie Conroy, who is the C in HBC, joined me in 2009. I was actually thinking I might go find another arena, but having Lizzie join me re-energized me. So I would say it took 7 years to get back up to the levels we were producing, 100 million a year. And so what would happen was people in coaching and training and discussion just like, well, how did you do it? Because a lot of people were able to, not everybody, but a lot of people did survive the market crash, but not everyone also had their business partner pass away. And so I would tell stories, kind of like I'm doing now, but I would tell stories, and they became memorable, and I started a blog, and then people, well, a couple of things came out. They like, you should write a book. But I was like, well, okay, there's a lot of real estate books out there. I mean, what makes my space unique? And when people would say to me in these situations, well, I just don't have time for personal and business development. And I would say, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? And everybody says they do. It's really pretty universal. And the idea is it breaks down the resistance, if you will, because the idea that to say you don't have time, if you can commit to 5 minutes a day, then you can, well, first of all, it builds a habit and all these things we can talk about. But also, there is a phenomenon called Parkinson's Law. When you limit and restrict activities, then you often can become more productive, because the challenge with a lot of books and trainings and everything is they go on for they're long times, and people are like, I can't commit to that, so I'm not going to do anything. But if you will commit to the 5 minutes a day. And so I wrote the book as what I call a daily reader. So the idea is you read one page, you read one concept a day. And that really works with also the phenomenon of a lot of salespeople, people that are entrepreneurs, because they're really kind of that shiny object squirrel phenomenon. Like, I got to have something new every day. Like, I'm a deal maker. I got to make it exciting, or I'm just going to get bored with it, and I'm not going to finish the book or finish the training or finish whatever. So anyhow, it stuck, because people were like, well, I could do 5 minutes a day. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes my concept unique. Well, so when I started working with a book developer, publisher, he's like, okay, well, that's all well and good, but there's got to be some core principles here. Like, it can't be just like every day is different. It has to have some sort of structure. So then that's where I built out, well, what are the key elements to success? Well, really, in real estate, because that's the name of the book, Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day. But what I've learned on this journey is that they really do apply almost universally to other industries and other endeavors. So
you bubble with joy Where does that come from?
Well, thank you. It comes from, I think, having a meaningful, purposeful.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Life and doing a lot of coaching. I coach other people, but I also am coached myself on thought work and how to, because really all of the things that happen to people's lives, the circumstances, it's really how do you think about it, right? So if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes. That's a Jim Rohn quote. So.
You bet. Absolutely. Love some Jim Rohn. Now, you also mentioned earlier that the universe rewards people who look for the opportunity to serve. Where did that mindset come from?
Well, because I'm like a mathematician. I'm really a high C in terms of my numbers and correlations and everything, but I couldn't make a correlation because it didn't correlate. I couldn't say I called these 5 people today and then all 5 of them at some point did business with me. I couldn't correlate it. And so I was like, okay, well, there must be something else to this, because I also found when I stopped doing the work, then the work stopped, then the opportunities stopped coming to me. And I'm like, so there's something to be said for the commitment and the actions. And so that's where the energy happens. And so I found it to be very releasing, because what I found a lot of people in sales is they get so caught up on each individual deal. And if it doesn't work out and the person goes to someone else, and then they start taking it personally. And then that changes energy too. Like the energy then feels like your resistance, your negativity, your bad mojo, whatever you want to call it. And so that means the other side is true as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that for sure. I've seen that play out in my own life many times. Tell me a little bit about this. Like, who's the perfect person to actually implement the 5-minute success concept? And in that 5 minutes, what are they actually doing?
Okay, well, I would say anybody can implement it. Like I said, it works not just in real estate, but so it's predominantly a business philosophy. But if you think about it, you can apply it in a lot of ways. So the first one is commit to get leads. And I said that when you asked me, well, what's the one thing you could do? Such by doing that, everything else will be easier and unnecessary. Well, that's it. Commit. Commit to get leads. So business development, prospecting, lead generation, everybody does it. I mean, dentists call it, business development. Churches call it evangelism. Everybody is doing, investors call it, it could be, you could be committing to get leads for money, sources of money, funds. It could be committed to get leads for deals, but everybody's doing something like that. And then the consult to sell is what some people call conversion. I call it consulting, because I found you can't make anybody do anything, right? So there has to be, it's still a free world, right? So free will exists. So, but if you consult them to help them achieve what they want to achieve, then they're going to do it, right? So, but it's a process. So you take people through really, and again, everybody does it. Dentists clean teeth, do x-rays, they do something to get out on the other end. Churches, they have ministry and, programming. Nonprofits do these too. Like they still have to have money. So everybody's doing something to get a result on the other end. Well, then what I found is that if you only do that, if you only get leads and convert them, you're going to be on this roller coaster, hamster wheel, whatever you want to call it, like a merry-go-round. You're not going to go anywhere, because you're only going to be as good as your next deal. And that is It'll be exhausting at some point. Maybe when you're young, you can pull it off, or early in the business. But some point, really successful, sustainable, long-term operations businesses, they connect to build and grow. They figure out those key principles of scale, leverage, systems, and they build it, and it becomes a model, and it's reproducible, right? Other people can do it. So that's what I found in my business. I can do it. I'm a very driven person. I'm going to make it happen. But can I help other people do it? And that's where the connect, to build, and grow. It's a lot of it's a who. It can be systems, but it almost always includes a who, because at some point you can't do everything. Only one person. And then what I found is to achieve at a high level, long term, the success mindset. And I call that success thinking, activities, and vision. Because people have a vision, and a lot of times people think success thoughts. But like I said, you got to take that action in the middle. You got to do the activities, because to sustain success long term, that is going to be a key aspect to that. And so that's where like I said, when my publisher said, but there's got to be a structure, so I drew this Venn diagram like on a napkin. It was classic, drawing it on a napkin. This is the plan. But it's true. I've been doing this now the book came out in 2016, so it's about ready to have its 9th birthday. So those concepts I've had 435 plus episodes on my podcast, and I've interviewed that many people in a lot of different arenas, and they've all said, yes, I do all these things in some way. Yeah.
You mentioned like commit to get leads, and I even wrote down here on my notes, commit to get relationships.
Oh,
It's interesting because I actually watched a clip of Cardone speaking yesterday, who I don't necessarily follow for any reason. It just kind of came across my feed, and he was talking about, he's like, I'm a transactional person, and he was talking about how he goes, if we have a transaction and then a relationship comes from it, then okay, so be it, like great. But he's like, I'm not looking to be relationship with no transaction, because then there's no value that I'm getting out of it. And I thought about that really kind of deeply. I've been pondering that ever since I saw it yesterday evening. And ultimately, you do have transactional people and relationship people. And I think sometimes relationship people can get misunderstood for having ulterior motives, whereas transactional, at least you know what they want right from the get-go, right? But what is your process for when you're committing to get leads? Are you building a relationship with those people, or what's your style?
well, for me, yes, because I would say the majority of my business is past clients, referrals, connections. I do have occasional people that'll, believe it or not, find me on podcasts and Google me and find my books, and I have had that happen. It's still mostly relationships, and that is fascinating that you took that commit to get, because it is true. There are other arenas where you commit to get, for example, relationships. And that will be key when you're connecting to building and growing. Because like I said, it's more oftentimes a who, not how, in growing to the next level. It could, I know you all run masterminds, the who in those relationships, because many people reach ceilings in their business and life, and to go to the next level, to break that ceiling, they really need somebody that's at the next level or can see things. That's what coaching is so valuable for, they can help you see things that you can't see. So yes, if you take the commit to get relationships to grow to the next level, commit to get relationships also would be a great lead generation strategy too, I think, because there's been a lot of research, they call it the strength of weak ties. People are more likely to refer, you've heard the 7 degrees of separation.
Yes.
People are more likely to refer like the second to third degree plus. Your immediate friends and relationships, family, are less likely to refer you. And that sometimes people wrap that around their head and they go, why? And I'm like, well, they may be just a little too close, right? But the next couple of levels will refer you. And so I have this philosophy. I never know where the next deal's coming from, because I really don't know at what point that relationship is going to have a need. And then that will happen, that that, like I said, the strength of the weak ties.
Right.
So yes, you can pick, you can commit to get healthy. You can commit to, but the key word in that is the commit, because so many people say they're going to try something. And you know what Yoda says about that. There is no try. There's only do. When you commit to something, though, you're going to figure it out. You're going to make it work. When you try something, you're like, didn't work, moving on. That's why when I said at the beginning, when I was like, I'm going to try residential real estate, I can't say I went into it with the right attitude. I was fortunate that it was an immediate, knowing. But a lot of people try residential real estate.
Yeah.
And I find the ones that commit to it are a lot more successful.
Right. That's something I teach my kids. My kids would be like, well, I'll try to do this and I'll try to do that. And my wife, she hates it when I do this,
Yeah.
I'll try. And I just look and I'm like, if you're going to try, then just don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
What?
And I'm like, hey, when you think about it, anything you ever tried, you didn't do. So just do it or don't. There is no try.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. And the other thing, when I shared it with this to people, I'm like, you're creating your own escape route. You are already rejecting you before you even tried, right? By saying tried. So commit to do it. You'll learn, grow, or become better than before. You will learn something, right? You may not, quote unquote, do that one thing, but you will learn something that will, it's kind of the whole Einstein thing, like how many times did he try to invent a light bulb? I mean, he didn't stop when the first, 900 didn't work. He was committed to it, figuring it out.
You bet. So let me ask you this, Karen. If you had to go back to the beginning and you were starting way back when, and you were able to take all of the challenges, the lessons, the wins, the failures, everything that you've been able to accumulate over the last several decades, and you were starting with your journey, what would you do different and what would you do the same with all that knowledge?
Well, all the things that happened, the circumstances have informed my current self. So I'm not going to really take any of those away. I think I've done a lot of coaching and thought work in the last, 9 or 10 years. And I would like to go back and apply that to the early years. I spent a lot of time worrying, and which is really, I found for me, very wasted energy. And so the idea that now I've been through financial markets crash, savings loan markets crash, pandemics, stock market fluctuations, interest rates at 22%, down to 2% to, all the things. One time my business partner, who passed, her husband was a congressman. And in the 1970s, when she was in real estate, she went to him and she said, when are you going to do something about interest rates? And he said, well, when are you going to learn how to sell houses no matter what the interest rate is? And I'm like, I still remember that today. So whenever someone says, I'll do that when this happens, I'm like, well, when are you going to learn how to do it with that? Because that's what is the opportunity. Because first of all, if interest rates changed to whatever direction you wanted them to change to, then anybody could do it, right? I mean, that would be that be the point. The point is, can I do it? And what I found is the more skills I have, I'm just like, well, I can do it. I can figure it out. So I would worry less. I would just say, you know what? Past me, it all works out. If I could have known how successful I was going to be, the years I stayed home with my kids, I probably wouldn't have wished them to grow up faster. And you have little ones, so I'm just going to share that. I know everybody says it because the days are long and the years are short, or whatever it is, whichever way it goes. It's so true, but it's like when you're in the middle of it, you're like, yeah, right. I just want to get a good night's sleep. So, but that's what I would say to myself.
Love that. Yeah, on that point too, what you mentioned there, kind of the reframe that I've been dealing with in the last few days is Because we are going through that, like in my family right now. We are going through somewhat sleepless nights. I have to maintain a very high level of energy to do what I do, and so my wife takes the brunt of it, and was up for 4.5, 5 hours in the middle of the night the other day with between our newborn and our toddler before finally throwing the toddler in bed with me, which we try not to do. But whenever I have to get out of bed and go deal with her and rock her back to sleep or whatever those things are, I think it's very easy for people to get frustrated about the challenges and the things that they're going through. And I've really worked on reframing in the past month with a newborn of like, you know what? This is not fun, but I'm grateful that I have a little girl who I'm able to rock, who isn't sick, who doesn't have cancer, who is living happy and healthy. And I'm glad she has an active mind to where, she's able to, she's having some of these, challenges. And I think that's just part of life. It's finding the challenges and turning those things into positive notes, because it could be so much worse. And I have a special needs child who has Tourette's autism, cerebral palsy. I mean, he's 18 months in a 13-year-old body still in diapers. And so coming from that perspective, it's like that could be one of these other kids too, but it's not. And so even though it's challenging, I have so much to be grateful for that there's no reason for me to be frustrated at the challenges.
Yeah, because I've kind of gone the future self, past self,
Right.
just be your present self, like be here now, be where you are, and learn and grow and become better than before on where you are now, because that's all you really have anyhow.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So I'm really so appreciative of our conversation today, Karen, and thanks for joining us. If anyone wants to learn more about you or what you're working on, where should they go for that?
So for the real estate space, well, pretty much you could Google Karen Briscoe and you're going to find me. I got the whole first page. But
Yeah.
real estate space, like I said, I'm in Northern Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., and we are the HBC group at Keller Williams and can help with your real estate needs. And then the what I call my creative endeavors, the 5-Minute Success. So it's the number 5-Minute Success website. The book is Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day. The podcast is 5-Minute Success. Obviously, you can find it on Amazon and Audible, and plus the other books. There's 3 other ones. And if somebody's interested in visiting with me about whether it would be a good fit for you for life coaching for mega agents or those who want to be, I do have a few slots, so you can go to the website and find a way to schedule a time for us to have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Go connect with Karen and learn more about what she's working on and what she's got going. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you got as much value out of it as I did, I know you're off to the races. So we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again, Karen.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.